What's going on, yo? It's Gumgumtcg here, back again with another video, and today I got something a little bit different for you. Today I have a tournament breakdown. That's right, this is a tournament breakdown from my Discord. If you're not a part of my Discord, definitely be sure to join it. I have a link to that down in the description below, where we're going to be holding more tournaments more regularly. They're going to be paid tournaments, US only, and yeah, we're going to have some sweet prizes coming up, so make sure you're in there and you get into a part of these. I mean, they're awesome. It's over the simulator, and that's what we held here. This was a tournament celebrating 100 Discord members. I've been talking about it for a while. We finally got to hold it this past weekend, and I wanted to do a breakdown on all the decks played and the top 4 deck profiles. So before we get into that, I want to shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, you're missing out, man. They are the best TCG accessory company on the market. They make high quality deck boxes, binders, and playmats that will blow your mind with how beautiful they are. I actually have one sitting right over here, and it's going to be the 3 sword style Zoro. This one is sold out, but I'm telling you, don't miss out on their designs. They are super limited, and pre-order now. Honestly, go pre-order. Link is down in the description. Use code GumGumTCG for a discount at checkout.
What? You haven't heard of Dueling Guard? Dueling Guard is the best TCG accessory company on the market. They have high quality deck boxes, binders, and playmats made for people who enjoy playing and collecting trading card games in style. They have tons of designs based off of fan favorite animes such as One Piece, Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, and many more. They hit the ground running earlier this year, making high quality TCG accessories with beautiful designs that have sold out many times. So if you haven't picked up any of their products, make sure to do so before they sell out again. I have a few deck boxes and playmats from them already and can attest to how they don't cut any corners when it comes to quality, performance, and design. I highly recommend their products and use them every time I play cards. Be sure to check the description below for a link to their site and use code GumGumTCG for a discount at checkout.
Alright, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into this breakdown. So it was a total of 16 players. Like I said, it was held over the sim, and this was a single elimination. No Swiss, single elimination. First place won a booster box. So I told everybody, bring their best, you know, bring what you think will win and bring what you're most comfortable with. So that's what people did here. And as you could see, a lot of people were comfortable with Katakuri. That was the biggest contender in the room with 5 decks total, 5 people playing Katakuri, and totaling about 31%. Pretty good representation, honestly. The deck's insanely powerful. It has a great matchup against almost every single other deck in the room. The only thing kind of gatekeeping it was red for a while, and now that red's kind of out of the format, mind you, we are playing in the OPO4.5 TCG format. Yeah, Katakuri can just kind of dominate. So I think yellow in general can kind of do that. It just has access to really powerful cards and mechanics that other decks lack, and that's why we saw such high representation here. Next up, we had 2 decks taking up 2 spots each, and those are going to be Red Purple Law, which is awesome to see a new contender in the room. This deck's insanely powerful, even without the new cards from OPO5. It just has so many resources in the red card pool and the purple card pool to be a great deck. They don't really need to go past more than 5-6 Dawn, so they just continuously use their leader effect after placing a nice body on the field to get something gone and then get something else out on the field as well. It's insanely powerful and really a sleeper of a deck right now for the top of the meta. Honestly, on my tier list video, which if you haven't seen, I have a link to that right above my head, I should have placed this higher. I underestimated this deck. I thought it needed some of the newer cards. It really does not. It competes and does very well on its own. Like I said, had 2 of those in this tournament, taking up 12.5%. And then next to that, we had another deck that I feel was gatekept by red, and now that it's a slower format, can perform very well. That's going to be Blue Nami. Mill out, you know. 2 as well, 12.5%. Against a lot of these other decks that are slower, take a little bit more setup and a little bit more time to be super aggressive. Nami has a really great time building up hand advantage, getting a lot of draws out of the deck, and by the time you're swinging at them a bunch, they have 12 cards in hand that they can counter away and mill the rest of the deck with. So I think Nami is a great contender in this meta as well, and saw decent representation in this tournament too. The next are all going to be single decks, so single one representation in the room. And starting off, we have Blue Purple Kaido, another one of my strong contenders for this meta, in my opinion. Great card pool, great archetype, has the Dawn Rampant Island, and yeah, some really powerful Animal Kingdom pirate cards. I really think that once they got that Who's Who Searcher, the deck kind of sprung to life. They get some more utility out of blue Animal Kingdom cards in the next set, and yeah, I think that it's a sleeper of a deck. Next, we had Green Kid. Green Kid's been a menace ever since it came out. You know, double attack and leader is crazy. I guess I should restate that. A leader that can attack twice is crazy, not a double attack leader. That's OP06, and that is pretty crazy as well. But Kid's always had that threat behind him, you know, where this leader can just attack twice. If he doesn't even have something on the field, he can still hit you twice big, and you got to watch out for it. You can play Kid in a variety of ways. The most popular is definitely the film way, but the deck list we're going to be looking at today is a little bit different, and I like it a lot. Shout out to Hyperjank for that list. That's crazy. Next, we had one Magellan, and I think Magellan's another sleeper deck. I know I've said there's multiple sleeper decks already on this list, but Magellan, man, I mean, you minus your opponent's Dawn, you put yellow off curve, it can be really powerful, and then you can add in the 7-drop Kid that gives your leader a 1k, and then your leader also gets that 1k boost from that minus Dawn. Your leader becomes 7k for the turn, 6k on your opponents. It can be really hard to deal with that every single turn, especially if they get 2. I mean, 7k on your opponent's turn, 8k on yours. That's crazy just for going -2. I guess the leader effect's only once per turn. That's my bad. Still, insanely big, and purple just does really well into this meta. Speaking of purple, we got the new red purple Luffy leader, which is also insanely strong in my opinion. I feel like the card pool that it has access to is kind of diminished by the TCG ban list, and over in the OCG the deck does a little better because they have more cards that we don't, like Rad Beam and Newgate, which this deck can take heavy advantage of, and I feel like people are still trying to work their way around this leader and make it work. I think that once the restriction lifts in December and OP05 hits, that this deck will see a little bit more play. I don't know, I feel like people are just going to play a lot more purple Luffy over it, but people will still be trying to make it work, and I think it's a strong contender as well. All of these, well, I think most of these are strong contenders. Next one that I do think is strong is green purple Dofi. I actually expected to see this in the top cut, did not, but let me rephrase that as well. There was no top cut of this event, but I expected green purple Dofi to go farther than it did. Great card pool, great leader effect, film package, crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can see it in other tournament breakdowns, especially big ones. It's taking up a big chunk of the metagame, just like Katakuri, and there's a reason it's really strong. Next, we have Red Uta, something I did not expect to see, and I was actually super hyped to see someone playing something just completely different and trying to blindside their opponents. Unfortunately, I don't think they made it past round 1, but I wish they did. Super interesting to see that leader, vanilla leader. I guess the leader's not vanilla, but it takes advantage of vanilla characters. So super cool to see that. And then Smoker, one of my favorite leaders, getting some representation and love in this tournament is awesome as well. I think that Navy does well into yellow, and it has a harder time against some other matchups, but I do love Smoker, and you'll be seeing me playing some Sakazuki next set because I do love my Admirals and the playstyle. So I was definitely happy to see Smoker. But that rounds out the breakdown. It was a really cool tournament. It was awesome to host. Like I said, if you want to be a part of something like this, we are going to be hosting paid tournaments for the US only, starting soon. So make sure you're in that Discord so you can win some awesome prizes. And we will be doing Swiss. It will be most likely 8-person tournaments, first come, first serve, and prizing to top 3. So if that interests you, go check out the link in my description. But like I said, I want to show off the top 4 deck list. I'm sure y'all are dying to know what actually topped and won this event. If you weren't a part of it, you won't know. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that now. All right, y'all, we're back with some deck lists, and we are going to be going in order of 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So there are 2 3rd place because it was not Swiss, and it was single elimination. 2 players both got 3rd place. Like I said, it was only prizing to 1st, but technically 2 players got 3rd place because they both got eliminated before the final round. And we're going to be taking a look at Godon's red purple law list. Like I said, this deck is a sleeper. It's really powerful. There are really powerful tools for this deck, and I think that with the access to red and purple, you have some interesting deck building capabilities. And one of those I think I haven't seen in many law lists is ulti and page 1. You know, like I said, you stay pretty low with your leader effect using it like every turn, but getting 2 bodies for the price of 1 and then going minus a Dawn is nothing to this deck. You know, 4 Dawn -1, that puts you at 3. You could still use leader effect that turn as well to play another body and shuffle your opponents away. I think that's really impactful. You know, this deck always is playing the Gordon and the Law, just 2 very, very important staples for this deck. That's why we've seen a rise in price in both of these on TCG Player and just in the current market because of this deck, you know. I think another one that you always see is Otama, and then Brook I've seen in quite a few lists as well. Very powerful card, gives that -2k to two characters. That's insanely powerful. One thing I was not expecting to see is Usopp. Just 1 copy of Usopp in here, just floating around. Same with Uta, 1 copy of Uta. You know, great blocker, but I was not expecting to see the Usopp. I like it. On KO, KO's an opponent's character with an original power of 5k or less. Awesome. Why not? You know, they're always playing the Law and all the Heart Pirates cards, Beppo, Shachi Penguin, and John Bart. They will be playing the new Searcher Law once that comes out at OPO5. So definitely be on the lookout for this deck. This deck is nasty and it's mean, and if you don't know how to play against it, or your deck's not built to play against it, it will catch you off guard, it will sweep you off your feet, and it will take you down. Like I said, shout out to Godon for playing this list and sharing it with me. I'm very happy to share it with you all, and maybe this inspires you to go try out this deck for yourself if you got some of these cards laying around. Next, let's go ahead and get into the other 3rd place list. All right, and here we have the other 3rd place list. This is the Green Kid list piloted by Hyperjank. And like I said, this is a little different than what you normally see. You know, it has the Bonnies, it has the Momos, it has the Wano package and the Supernova package, but there's just something a little different about it, you know. Usually you see him playing 4 Bonnies instead of just 2. But I really do like that the different deck building style, and one thing that I really like about this list is playing that 4 Yamato. You know, trying to capitalize on that Momo search to play Yamato out from hand instead of relying on, let's say, just 8-drop Kid to fuel your whole game. Yamato's a crazy card right now and does crazy work against Yellow. Yellow is the big threat in the room, and I think that Hyperjank had the right pick here to try and play this over anything else. You know, I saw that he was playing. He's from my locals, and I was excited to see what he's playing because he's always doing something different with the Kid list. A lot of this is really standard, you know, 4 Izo, 4 Okiku, 4 Killer, yada yada. Also the Shinobu, that caught me off guard as well. 4 copies of this, just a 3-5k beater. You stick this on the board on turn 2 and just start beating at your opponent. What are they going to do about it? You know, they're always playing the Laws. X-Drake, I feel like, makes its way in and out of lists for like 2 to 4 copies a piece, but I really do like the Yamato in here to deal against the yellow players. You put this on the field, you put a bunch of Dawn under it, and you swing at them. If they don't have a blocker, you're either getting 2 life cards right to their trash, which means no triggers, or you're getting multiple cards out of their hand, and that's just crazy advantage in my opinion. I do like the 2 Kazuki Toki that you pair with the Yamato just to be an additional 1-cost blocker. You do have to have that on the field, but I mean, if you do, it's just another beige. So I really like that. I really like Paradise Waterfall, being able to restand your Yamato, so they can't just run it over next turn, or maybe use it with a Law to block and then restand. And then the other thing that caught me off guard was this card. Always does. If my opponent plays this card, it always catches me by surprise because it's insanely powerful. And yeah, I think that it's slept on. Definitely will catch your opponent off guard, rest something, and then pop a 6 or lower. Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So definitely happy to see this list. Happy to see something different in a Kid list for once, instead of just film or the generic cookie cutter build. So shout out to Hyperjank for this list. Let's go ahead and look at the second place list now. And to no one's surprise, second place list is Katakuri. This was piloted by Hawk, and you know, Katakuri lists usually look pretty similar. I think the ratios are just what changes, maybe what 2Ks you like playing, that stuff. Yeah, Hawk opted to play 16 2Ks, which I think is very powerful for Yellow. They have that room in their deck to be able to play that with some of these big bombs that they drop at the end of the game, being able to heal and rip your opponent's life, stuff like that. Being able to play so many defensive cards is really where this deck excels, and then late game dropping your 7 drop, your 10 drop, your 8 drop, stuff like that. Not to mention all the triggers. That's why this deck's doing so well right now. You trigger these cards out of life, you just get a free body on the field that gets to beat down your opponent. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit though. Like I said, the 16 2Ks is pretty cool. You don't see that many in every single list. I like it though. It's definitely a little more defensive. I'm wondering if it's cloggy though. I haven't played Katakuri myself in quite a while, but I'd probably try a list similar to this one. You do see these vanillas in the deck nowadays, Randolph and Parasparrow. I think their ratios are just kind of interchangeable, whichever one you want to play more of or less of, or any at all. Katakuri, I feel, is another one that always changes ratios, as well as 7-drop Linlin. I usually see people running 2 to 3 Katakuri and 2 to 3 Linlin. And then same with Shirahoshi. Some lists play it, some lists don't. I think that it's a crazy card, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you don't want to draw and trash. I don't know, I feel like I always want Graceful Charity though, so and then Thunderbolt, I feel like, has started to make its way back into this deck list a lot lately because of all the blockers a lot of other decks are playing. So yeah, shout out to Hawk for getting second place, and thanks for the list. Let's go ahead and look at the first place list now. And to no one's surprise, again, it is another Katakuri list. Similar to the last one, but also pretty different. You know, you look at the amount of 2Ks here and you see they're only playing 11. This is Katakuri TCG's list. So shout out to you, Katakuri TCG. Congrats on winning. I hope to see you back in the next one and see if you can't run it up again. But yeah, let's talk over this. There's a couple things I noticed. So first off, Smoothie. I feel like this card comes up in lists every now and again, and I think that it's a great card to play against certain decks more aggressively. You take a life card, it gets extra power for the turn, and yeah, I mean, it also has that trigger to play itself. You don't have to use that effect, so you could just trigger it and have another vanilla on the field that you could use the effect of at any time. The other thing is there's no big Parasparrow in here. There's just the 3 Randolph. The other thing I'm noticing is they're playing Brûlée. I really like Brûlée. I'm a Queen player, you know, and I have learned over these past month and a half, 2 months, that Brûlée and trigger blockers in general are insanely broken, especially ones that just play themselves for free with no cost. Sanji has a cost, but it's still insanely broken. You can use them as a beater, you can use them as a blocker. Yeah, really love these cards, and maybe it was the reason that he won. I'm not really sure. So again, congrats to you. Another thing I noticed different is the 2 Linlin, the 3 Katakuri. Like I said, these kind of change around depending on how you build it. And then the 4 Thunderbolts. I'm like I said, this card has started making its way back into deck list. Trigger's crazy, effect is crazy, just all around a crazy card, and less counters. Maybe they were pushing for something a little more aggressive than normal. So again, congrats to you, Katakuri TCG. I want to thank everybody for participating in the tournament. I want to thank everybody that's in the Discord and that has supported me thus far. If you aren't subscribed, definitely make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers right now, and if we reach that goal by the end of this year, I will be giving away 1 free box of OP05 to a lucky US subscriber. So make sure you're subscribed by the end of the year so that we can try to reach that goal and get that giveaway rolling. Also, make sure you're in the Discord so you can jump into the next one of these tournaments. I'd love to host another one here soon, and we're planning on it. So if this is something that interests you, definitely hop in the Discord. The link will be down in the description below, as well as a link to Dueling Guard. If you haven't checked them out by this time in the video, you're crazy. Go check them out right now and use code Gumgumtcg for a discount at checkout. I want to thank you all so much for watching the video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.